Hey, Jules Blessed Vegan, and welcome to day 38 of our 100-day countdown to the best version of ourselves in the new year. I am so glad you're here. If you're returning, good to see you. And if you're just joining us, you are right on time. There is never a better moment than right now to choose wellness in your life. And if you blew it over Thanksgiving, you had some personal goal and you failed, or maybe you made it through Thanksgiving and imploded the next day, or even today, there was leftovers and you finally gave in, whatever it is, who cares? You're here, you're trying, you're always evolving and progressing forward, and that's all that matters. Forgive yourself and move on. There's no parent in your life except for you, most likely. Pretty sure I have everyone here 18 and older. So, if it's just you, how can you be a loving parent? God is a loving, merciful parent. He definitely disciplines his children, but the bottom line is he's in love with us. And it's the same. Can you find a way to love something about yourself just for today? So my main topic today is kind of gratitude, just being grateful and open to the blessings. How can we be thankful, not just because of Thanksgiving, but because every single day we should be able to find something great in our lives. I was reading this quote and it said, "You pray in your distress and in your need. Would that you might pray in the fullness of your joy and in the days of abundance." And that's by Khalil Gibran. I hope I said that right. So that we can remember not just when we're desperate and panicking, but when we're joyous and filled with abundance. Can we rejoice in that? To be fair, I have the grace to do that. But I'm one of those people who's sort of outside of my body. When I dream, I watch myself dream. And so often when life's going on around me, it's almost in slow motion for me. And I'm kind of just busy observing and praising God the whole time. I'm just saying, thank you so much. I just know his hand is in so many things. So what was kind of funny, I often will say, oh, I met this person, so incredible, whoever the person is. But what I forget is that they met me. I know that sounds arrogant, but wouldn't that be a blessing if I could remember that it wasn't just God's plan that I, be so fortunate to meet them, but that they met me too. And that exchange of energy might make a difference, So I was thinking so often, and I am a prayer person and I call myself a God person. I've been in the last moments of people's lives, the last breath of my animals, been able to comfort them and be present for them. And often I've met people just before they left the planet, which I don't want to scare anybody. One time I freaked a girl out when I told her that. She's like, "Oh my gosh, am I about to die?" I was like, no, I don't mean that. I just mean that I'm so fortunate to see them before they leave the planet and be love in their life, for a moment. So anyway, just in kind of thinking about that, I was fortunate to meet Oprah one time. I'm fluent in sign language and I worked with deaf children and just deaf people. I translated through college to make my money. It was a wonderful experience. And Oprah had come to Los Angeles, to Griffith Park in particular, to do a Get Moving with Oprah campaign back in 96. And I was there and they needed a translator. So I got to meet Oprah and interpret for any deaf people who were present. And I remember one time I met Betty White, and it was actually at a PETA event. And in particular, it was raising money for the Orangutan Foundation. And I've worked with the Orangutan Foundation for years, and they're our next closest relatives, so important to save the rainforest of Borneo. But anyway, Betty White was there. And so I went up and I was like, "Hi, I'm nobody." And what I meant was, I'm not paparazzi. I'm not someone in your face. And I said, "Hi, I'm nobody." And she said, "No, I'm quite sure you're somebody." And I said, "Oh my gosh, yes, I'm Juliana." And it was so great to meet her. And I remember I was so happy to meet John Denver. I've loved his music forever, and it was just a couple of months before he exited the planet. I was in the airport in San Francisco, And I went up and said, "Hi, I'm Juliana, and I just want you to know what an impact you've had on the planet with your music and what a tremendous blessing you are." And, he was so casual. He had on his leather jacket and his guitar slung over his shoulder. No way was he going to check that thing in, right? And I was so sorry when he left a couple months later, but I was so blessed to meet him. Another just off the wall was Dom DeLuise, funny comedian, someone who struggled with his weight. Funny how I meet Oprah, she struggles with her weight. I meet Dom DeLuise, he struggles with his weight. It just shows us how prevalent it is. But I was so happy to tell him how he'd made people laugh, and he was such a joy. And then there was this other lady, like Time Magazine's most important woman of the year for the last 19 years. Just a little nobody, but I happen to have a photo of us kicking it. Yes, that's my Auntie Hillary. I don't care what your political affiliation. Hanging with Hillary Clinton was very cool. The other lovely lady is my sister Glynis, and she's the only reason I could do it because she has bank, and it was $2,500 to kick it with Hill. But I got to see her again at a brunch as well. It was when she was on the campaign trail the first time, and that time I actually prayed with her because I told her, "Hun, in the midst of everything, like life just stopped and it was just the two of us, that's the weirdness of my life or the blessing of my life." And I was like, "I need to pray over you." And she was game. I said, "I wouldn't wish the presidency on anyone, but if you're going for it, we need to pray." And so we totally prayed. That was like Hillary, I've just met a variety of people. The women from The Talk, Lisa when she had her show, just a bunch of people. And I think sometimes God wants them to meet me, to let me share my energy with them and be present. And of course, it's just fun for me. And of course, Miss Tanny Raw, who, no, I haven't embraced her in person, but I have had the blessing of hanging out with her on Skype. And it seems very real. But I imagine I will get there if that's God's will, right? All right, so I'm just grateful. I'm grateful for my walk. I'm grateful for encountering a wide array of people. There's been so many blessings in my life. Different principals, when I was a child in need of guidance, different moms that I babysat for. God just puts a bunch of people in my life for the moment. And as I suggested, as I'm getting older, I imagine that I'm in their life, and I'm in the life of many people. And I'm so grateful for that. And there was one person in particular in my spiritual walk, Sister Judith Fogashi, who from 16 years on, just took me under her wing. And I literally say wing. This woman was an angel on earth. And just walked me through it. Unfortunately, she exited the planet at just age 67. And when any of this happens, I throw a fit and I pound my fists and stomp my feet and cry out to the heavens and say, "Really, Father?" And then finally I calm down and I can just see the grace and blessing in their life. And now it was a blessing for them, whether their body didn't work for them anymore, whether, like with Sister Judith, it was her time to go home, to the husband she dedicated her whole life to, which was Christ. And, she certainly deserved that. But I'm going to still fit throw. Because when you love as passionately as I do, you can throw fits. It just means that I am 100% in, and I'm going to continue to throw fits. I think God likes it. I think he's just like, "Hey, girl, you've made your presence known," and I'm going to keep doing that. So, for today, I'm super grateful. Tanny Raw always reminds us that there is only one of us in all of eternity. There is only this day in all of eternity. What can you do to make the most of it? And sometimes it is hard to have that grace, but I continue to pray for it and to be open to it. And maybe if there's any homework in here, what can you find to be happy about? Just one precious thing. You may have several, but what's one that you might mention in the comments where you are just completely grateful, especially with something you couldn't be grateful for before, but now you have the grace. That's very cool, right? When you recognize you've grown. All right, so until we talk again, stay vegan, and my friends, be blessed.